All praise is due to Allah, who has united the hearts of the believers in Islam and has made it an obligation to remain united and has made it forbidden to become separated in his clear book. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, who guides to the straight path whom he wills, and I bear witness that our leader Muhammad is his messenger and the best caller to the way that is straight. O Allah, send your prayers and your peace upon our leader Muhammad and upon his family and upon his companions, whose hearts were united and whose souls were educated, so that they became victorious leaders. And what follows thereafter, O believers of Allah, I advise you as well as I advise myself to first have the proper regard for Allah and thereafter be obedient to him. Dear believers, I greet you with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be with you. We are in this discussion in the Quran where Allah asked the question, and what we're finding out is that this question is asked by different people, but in this one the statement starts off ma lakum, and then the statement la, meaning that whatever this next part of the sentence is going to be will be like someone is not doing something. And so this one, it says ma lakum la tantikun, which means what is the matter with you that you cannot speak? And in one translation it says, what is the matter with you that you cannot speak intelligently? Now, for specific context of this verse, which is found in Surah 39, verse 92, for specific context, it is the story of the Prophet Ibrahim, the Prophet Abraham. And this story is where the people had left to go and meet this caravan that was coming into the area that he was living in. And this is when he was young. And so they had placed his dad was an idol maker. He made the items that people turned to for worship. And so it gave him this status in the community, because here was this thing that everyone felt that they need, this thing to turn to and worship. And so his father, the Prophet Ibrahim's father, was the one who built these idols. And so in the place where the idols were kept, people would bring different things to these idols. They would bring flowers. They would bring things that they thought would benefit or would be of use to these idols, or show that they are sacrificing or giving something up for these idols so that they could solve the problems or fix the issues that they were having. And so in one verse, the Prophet Ibrahim, he asked this idol, like, why can't you eat the food? Like, what's the matter with this food that's in front of you? Having this conversation with this thing that people are turning to for worship, that could not feed themselves. That even if they could, they still couldn't digest it, because it was something that his father, that he watched make with his own hands. And so as he was on this journey to find this proper way of worship, or understanding what should be worshipped, he was having this interaction with these products of his own father's hands that people would turn to for worship. And so he asked them, why couldn't they eat? And he knew. But then this verse that we're looking at, that says ma lakum la tantikun, what is the matter with you that you speak not intelligently? What is the matter with you that you cannot speak? So he was saying this in relation to him asking this creation that came from the mind of his father, this something else that was already created by the Creator. He was asking this question of this thing that came from the mind of his father, why would it not eat? And then he asked it why he wasn't speaking to him. Why wasn't he responding? Why didn't he have the capacity? If he's so great, if he's something that people turn to for worship, why can he not even respond to a child or a young man's simple question about why he will not eat his food? And so we know how this story goes on. The Prophet Ibrahim, he then smashes the idols to show that they cannot even protect themselves. They cannot feed themselves. They cannot speak on their own behalf. And so then we have to ask, what is the message that Allah is trying to convey to us? Us as believers, us as those who interact with this verse or hear the story of the Prophet Ibrahim. One, he is discussing these idols that creation made. From the ability, the mental ability that was provided to the Father from the Creator. The skills to shape and form these things that came from the Creator. And this thing, this creation, creating something on its own, and people accepting it for worship. So it's showing in this instance, in this story of the Prophet Ibrahim, that the things that man creates themselves is not worthy of worship. And we know the things that we create come in many shapes and forms. It may be this idea of ourself. It may be money. It may be this job. It might be these relationships. It might be people. It might be positions. All these things that we as creation of the Creator build with the intellect that was provided to us by the Creator and achieved by the skills that were given to us by the Creator. We then go on and worship those things that we create. And sometimes it's our identity. Aqulu qadha astaghfirullah li wa lakum walhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama salata ali Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidun majid. Allahumma barak ali Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ali Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidun majid. And so when we begin this discussion of these verses that start malakum, what is the matter with you? We discuss how they were conversations or statements that require a certain level of introspection, a certain level of looking inward toward ourselves to figure out what is our issue, what is our condition, why are we in the position that we are in now. And so we discussed the context, the actual context of this verse in the Quran. But now we want to look at it conceptually. How do I apply this to my life? How do I see this in my life? And the verse, it says, Ma lakum la tantukum. What is the matter with you that you cannot speak intelligently, or that you cannot speak? And so as we look at ourselves, as we look at how we carry ourselves, and sometimes this idea of the ego precedes us. This personality that we've developed of ourselves based on our accomplishments in this life, based on the things that this world has congratulated us for, or given us status for, given us awards for, given us rank for, given us positions for. We begin to build up this idea that who we are is so great, that who we are is so important, and all we do is turn our energy to ourselves. We spend all of our time thinking on how I can accomplish the next thing, on how I'm the one who made these things possible, not looking at that I have a duty as a Muslim to always turn back to my Creator, to always give thanks and praise to my Creator for allowing me to have the opportunity that that I have now. And so we look at this in the context of the story of the prophet Ibrahim. And where he gave this food was placed out in front of this idol, in front of this thing that everybody turned to for worship. And we're looking at it into the context of ourselves, of our ego. And we think about when we talk about people say food for thought or feeding your brain and reading books and engaging things. And we have this access to information. We have this access to religion. We have this access to things that are beneficial to us. And then the question is asked, why can you not even eat? Why don't you eat this food that is placed in front of you? Why don't you eat this information that is going to give you this understanding that the God who created you is sovereign, and that is where you should spend your time. That's who you should turn to for thanks. That's who you should turn to for gratitude, not just continually seeking to push yourself in front of others to make you seem like you're the big this or the big that, or you're so great. The prophet Ibrahim asked the idol, ask your ego, what is the matter that you can't even eat? Like, why can't you feed yourself? You're so busy with everything else. And then when that idol, when that ego doesn't allow for even the questioning of why don't you engage the Quran or engage the community or engage something to give you knowledge and bring you back to your duty of serving Allah's creation in a way that shows him reverence, not just seeks to elevate yourself. Then it says, what is the matter with you that you cannot speak intelligently? Everything is I. Everything is me. Look what I did. Look what I'm doing. All these things. And I cannot speak intelligently as to why I am what I say I am. I cannot speak intelligently on the Creator who created me and why I should turn and show gratitude for him, because I'm so consumed with myself. I'm so consumed with the things that the Creator has put inside of me. The intellect that the Creator has put inside of me. The skills, the ability to speak, all these things the Creator has put inside of me, and I put them out to the world only so they can look at me and say, look at me, I'm great. You should show me this respect because I accomplished this thing, or I am this thing, and I'm the only one that's pushed out front. But if I was speaking intelligently, if I was speaking based on the food for thought, the information that was fed to me about my Creator, I would say, Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater. I would say, Alhamdulillah. All praise is for Allah. When I get these compliments, when people say things about the skills that Allah has allowed me to have. So this verse, it says, Ma lakum latantukum. What is the matter with you? Again, this introspection. What is the matter with you that you cannot speak intelligently? And some may say, well, I'm educated, and so by default my words are intellectual. My default, my words are intelligent. But true intelligence is knowing the proper form of worship, the proper place to point your worship or point your attention, or the attention of others that is given to you, similar to what those idols were for those people. And when the prophet Abraham broke that idol, the idol couldn't rebuild itself. So when creation broke this thing in creation, the creation couldn't even build itself. And the only thing that would even have the capability to do that is the Creator, who was denied. Because that idol in that case, but for us, we don't speak intelligently. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا تقبل منا إنك السميع العليم إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له بذلك أمرت وأنا المسلمين الحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.